It is late summer and one of my all-time favorite top waters for figuring bass out in that late summer to early fall transition has got to be a popper. A popper has got to be one of the most underrated and underappreciated topwater lures on the market, which is kind of surprising to me because when you think about taking kids out fishing and if you want to get them on a topwater bite, what is the first lure most of us give a youngster when topwater fishing? Is a popper. It works. Now, I had a video just last week that talked about chasing the shade in the heat of the summer, like right now when that sun is high in the sky and we just got tiny little pockets of shade, and how a popper is an excellent tool for working those small areas. As a matter of fact, just last night my son and I went out and using this very method we were talking about, within a few casts we had a bass follow, a really nice fish follow the popper out of some shallow vegetation. They didn't commit, but like we talked about in that video, we followed it up with some wacky rigs and we caught 8 fish pretty quickly. So it's a great tool this time of year, not only to catch bass, but especially to locate them. Now, so I wanted to go in a little more depth today with it. If you want to watch that video, we can go ahead and put the link down in the description. But one of the things that I wanted to discuss is why it's such a good late summer to early fall transition topwater. One, this is the time of year when bass in all kinds of reservoirs situations. Here's one right here, a small one. Oh, there's an oak came off and another one is following it. About a 2-pounder was right there behind it. I had a 1-pounder hooked and that was about a 2-pounder. But anyway, and they were shallow. They were up there in just a few feet of water. And the water temp is 82, 85 degrees, I believe. It's somewhere in there. But the reason it is such an effective lure in this late summer to early fall transition is because in all kinds of impoundments and bodies of water, the bass are switching over from more of a, a crawdad type of a diet, and they're really keying in on baitfish. We know they eat baitfish all year long, but this is a time of year when they just really start to chase them and follow them. If you have a body of water that has large schools of shad, those bass will chase them all over the place, even what apparently looks like open water. But here specifically, they are keying in on minnows. Now, these are both fry of the year that are starting to get some size to them, and also, like this particular lake, they stock a lot of fathead minnows and they key in on that particular bait source. Well, a popper is an excellent choice for imitating minnows. It just does a great job. As you can look at it, it's got the white belly, about the same size. This one's a little bit larger than some of the minnows that are in here right now. But those fish that we were catching last night, they were coughing up baitfish. As we were fighting them to the boat and unhooking them, they were spitting up baitfish. So that is a major indicator. Now, as far as what to do with the lure color, and that's what I really wanted to dive into. Of course, the bass are looking up at these poppers. So if you're in a clear water situation, you really can't go wrong with something with a white belly. This one I'm using here has got the black sides, which more imitates the minnow since they're actively feeding on those. But if you throw some of your fire tigers and your greens and your watermelons, if there's a lot of bluegills, that's an excellent choice. Now, if you have dirty water, okay, the water is a lot darker, that is, a white belly is still going to work, but that is where I like some more of your solid colors in the chartreuse. You could even get away with one that's all black. A black belly works really well. But as you can see in the underwater footage, especially when you've got the sun in the background, those fish are only getting the silhouette of the particular bait. So you can be confident that as long as you got a solid base to it, a solid belly to it, you've probably got a pretty good choice. And in clearer water situations, that's where you can start to experiment with the color and mix things up. This particular one, I'm actually throwing this on a medium heavy, more of like a jig rod, because there is some vegetation I'm ripping through once in a while. But a traditional medium power rated top water rod would work well. I have this one lined up with braid with a 12-pound leader. Been working really well with me. A lot of anglers on their top waters prefer just to go straight monofilament because it floats. So it's hard to go wrong with straight mono. Now, as far as the retrieve, there's several different types of poppers on the market. You've got your models that just straight pop, but there's also poppers that will walk a little bit. Now, this particular model that I've got on here, if you throw some slack in the line, much like if you're doing a walking bait, and then go ahead and work it like this, it will start to walk a little bit. Now, I'm not talking walking like something like a sexy dog where it really throws from side to side. It's only gonna walk just a small bit. But there's some times when that type of retrieve is the ticket to really activating the fish. And then you have to experiment between just a small subtle pop, leave it sit 15, 20 seconds, especially if it's in the small pocket of shade, or really working it and throwing a big splash. Okay, you've got to let the bass tell you on that particular day what they want. And like we've talked about earlier, when they commit, when they actually commit, that is when you know you've got things dialed in pretty good. Now, if you would like to watch a video on all kinds of topwaters, which one to choose, why and when, go ahead and check out this video right here, and make sure that you go out and encourage someone today. You never know how you might just change their life. For the Bass Fishing Life, I'm your host, Steve Rogers.